Hi and welcome to this week's GMBN Tech Show. Coming up on the show, we report from Core Bike Show, a bunch of cool stuff, loads of stuff in fact to talk to you about there. Anna's actually on holiday this week, she's in Sospel riding a bike. Damn, missing her around here, but hey, she's having good fun in the sun. There's a new alloy mullet bike from YT Industries and a brand new Enduro helmet from Poc. Get a load of that bad boy. Okay, so straight into the show, and no topic as such, but I've just come back from Core Bike Show, which is a UK bike show, and it's pretty much trade-based. It gives the bike dealers the opportunity, like bike shops that is, the opportunity to go and check out product in the flesh and speak to product managers and people from the brands and things like that. So from my perspective, it's a great show to go to actually catch up with people face to face, and it's been a long time coming. I did go to Eurobike last year, but it was a very peculiar show because it was that last show. And it just didn't really have that much stuff there. So there's nothing especially new that I saw at Core Bike. A few little golden pieces though, which I'm going to talk to you about. But I just wanted to chat to you about just some of the cool stuff I saw. So first up, I walked in the door and straight past the Hope guys. So they've got the Tech 4 brake, which we've seen teased for some time now, but really nice to actually see it in the flesh. And Woody was taking me through the process of how they moved from production from the Tech 3 to the Tech 4. And it's such a specialised thing to make every single part of the brake there. So you can imagine a bit of a logistical nightmare to actually make the leap from the older brake to the new brake. Now there were some parts that carried across, like the little dials on the lever that you can see, and a few things like that, but really it's an all new brake design. So very difficult stuff for them, and of course there's been material problems as well with the supply chain, which again, we're constantly hearing about these issues that manufacturers are having, but Hope are chipping away, they're still doing their thing. The Tech 4 is available now. They also had the pedals on the stand, which I'd not seen in the flesh. So they're making clip-in pedals now. They've made flat pedals for many years, but the clip-in pedals use a Shimano style system on there, so you can adjust the tension on there. It's a dependable system that works. So if you like the Shimano feel that locked in and you can adjust the tension on them, these might be a great alternative choice for you, especially given how these things look. I absolutely love them. So they've got the minimal cross-country ones, they've got trail ones, they've got downhill ones, so you've got a good amount of choice there. And then they had that HB 916 bike. So we're well aware that they make their own carbon fibre bikes in-house, along with all of the alloy componentry that goes with these bikes. Like the hardware, like the rockers, the dropouts, all that stuff. But I've not seen one of these in the flesh, and wow, what a bike. So the all black one looked amazing, and it's probably the one I would opt for in that almost satin finish. It looked really classy the way you could see the weave of the carbon, but it's not screaming out like, hey, look at us, it's carbon. But it's, oh man, it's just so nice. But the painted one, I don't even know would you call this oil slick? Would you call this glitter bomb? I don't really know what you call it, but oh my God, it is unreal when you see it in the flesh. And actually, kind of reminded me a little bit of another bike we're going to talk about from Forestal in a while. Two bikes picking some really rowdy sort of colours. What do you reckon? Would you go for something as crazy as this with a Hope bike? I think it looks incredible. I don't know if I've got the guts to ride a bike that's that crazy, but man, looking it up close, there's a few details here of the high pivot with the idler wheel there, and you can see the Olin shock on there, and just the overall finish on it. Stunning bit of kit, really, really nice. Another bit of stunning kit, the Hydra hubs from Industry 9. So we've seen these before, seen them out at Sea Otter, and we're well aware about the 690 points of engagement, but they actually had some like cutaways and stuff, so it's really cool to see the insides. I think there's a shot on screen that you can see. And the way it works is essentially it uses the torque basically to engage those pulls. It's not trying to fight the system and damage the pulls that you can have on certain systems. Some hubs out there, they can be too focused, I guess, on trying to make everything so stiff, but you're going to get flex with something with that much torque going through it. So utilise that in order to make to get the power down basically. It's just a really nice system, and I just love their stuff. I think it's really nice. I love the spokes. I love the whole outlook on that company. Very cool stuff. Next up, Ride Concept. So I'm going to keep bashing through these because there's a lot of stuff. Ride Concept, I first saw them, I reckon 5 years ago at Sea Otter. I completely lose track of time because of what's happened in the last few years. But look at the range now. So when I first saw them, they had, I think, 3 or 4 different models and different colours and then a kids' shoe and stuff. And now they've got this massive wall of trainers and riding shoes. I didn't even know where to start with them. But it sounds like now they've answered something that everyone's been screaming for. So they've obviously had different geometers of rubber, but now they've got one that's like really, really soft. And it's up there with like the other brand, 510. Basically that everyone compares sticky rubber riding shoes to. Obviously 510 were first on the scene with a dedicated shoe, and other people have been doing it. But what I like about Ride Concepts is they are a brand born from wanting to make riding footwear, and that's all they do, and they specialise in it. So now you can have a boa system, you can have laces, you can have a strap, you can have clip-in style soles, you can have flat pedal soles, and you can even have more casual shoes. I mean, these ones are Caroline Buchanan signature shoes that launch, I think, I might have jumped the embargo here, they launch fairly soon, but hey, they're on a stand, so I shot them. But they look sick, I think they're really cool, and I love what that brand is doing. Loads of cool colours going on there, awesome stuff. Next up, Cannondale Jekyll. Yeah, I know, it's not new, but look at the colour. Oh my God, the finish is unreal. I love that sort of almost embossed Cannondale logo up by the head tube there. Really subtle, you don't even see it when you're looking at the bike. It looks like it's got no sort of graphic on it at all. And you go up close and you see it on the head tube and it's like, oh, well, top tube by the head tube there. Really, really nice. Now, I did notice looking at the Cannondale bikes there and the GT bikes on the stand, looking from the pictures, you know, the cross-country bike, they had the Jekyll. I didn't see a Habit there. The Habit's been out for a while, isn't it? So, I don't know, like no one would tell me this, but I reckon they're going to launch a new one soon. They've got to, it's about due, it's well overdue in fact. So I suspect we might see something at Sea Otter, which I'm off to in a couple of weeks. So mum's a word on that one. Next up, Forestal bikes. Yeah, I know, it's an e-bike brand, but just look at the things. I just want to show you the bike, so don't think I'm trying to lobby you into e-bikes. These things are just beautiful bikes, really nicely designed. So it has got, obviously, got their own custom Bafang motor on there, and the motor itself weighs 1.95 kilograms. To me, that doesn't mean a lot, but apparently that's ultra light for one of them. It's got 250 watt-hour battery, 60 newton meters of torque, so it's quite torquey for like a light e-bike. The whole point of these is to feel like a normal bike, not to feel like an e-bike. And it's got a clutch, like a double clutch system on there that completely disengages the motor. So when a motor's not offering you assistance, whether you're pedaling over the speed of the motor or you're coasting or whatever, it completely disconnects. So there is no friction. And I pedaled one around outside and it genuinely does feel like a regular bicycle. The weight as well, I think they weigh like just over 40 pounds. So if you consider like my Canyon Spectral On, that's nearer 50 pounds. You're talking like a 10 pound difference. And all right, it might be 10 pounds heavier than your existing bike, but hey, that's a pretty cool thing. Also, it's got this built-in display on the top tube, so hopefully you can see these images here. It's quite difficult to capture these. It's like an Android-powered computer, basically, built in. It's really, really advanced with the features it's got on there. And it can even do things such as you could set like a base heart rate that you want to train to. Let's just say you want to go mad and be like, right, I want to do my whole ride at 170 BPM. The bike will manage the power delivery around keeping you at 170 BPM once you've synced up your heart rate monitor, your chest strap with the actual device. Mega cool, and a very different approach. So loads of cool tech going on there. The finish on the bikes, oh my God. Two models here that I took pictures of, the Scion and the Hydra. So the Scion is 150mm travel front and rear, very much a trail bike, you know, 65.5 degree head angle, like fairly standard geometry on that. And it uses a twin levity linkage system on the rear end, which felt very nice. Obviously, I couldn't really test it on a golf course, but it looks really nice. And then there's the Hydra. Now, this one was interesting. So it has the same layout as the other bike, but it's designed for downhill. So it's a reinforced version. It's 180 and 170mm travel, respectively, front and rear there. It's got the steep seat angle and they've got dropper posts, because obviously being an e-bike, you're going to ride it back up to shuttle, but they've built it strong enough with the same geometry as a downhill bike. So that actually, I think that's got legs. I think that's really cool. But mega brand that's come seemingly out of nowhere from Enduro, of course. I've had development with Gracia involved in all of that. So cool stuff, I think. Next up, a torque wrench. Sorry, I'm not even sorry. I was looking at this torque wrench from Effetto Mariposa for a while. This one was the anniversary one. I think it's a 216 Pro model. They do various different models at different torque settings and different applications, but oh man, it's just a beautiful thing. There's nothing really to say about that. A beautiful tool, and I think I want one. Yeah, it's lovely. Next up, MRP Custom Colour Programme. So MRP stuff's been around for quite a while now. They're making good suspension forks, good shocks, they're doing all that stuff. But now they've got Cerakote involved. So I don't know if you remember my Glamour. So the hammer that's had the Cerakote, which you see on guns and other things, a really tough finish. MRP are offering 12 different colours of Cerakote and 12 different decal colours. So a lot of combinations there, but you can match it up on your coil shock spring, as well as a bash guard on the chain guide and the fork. Just super trick. I think that's just really nice. That finish is mega tough and it looks great. And I love I don't even know what colour you'd call it. It's almost like a brownie finish, brown grey, I don't know. It looked awesome. I liked it anyway. Next up, the GT Virus team running custom Fox 40s. So look at this pair of 40s on this GT Fury downhill bike here, and you'll notice it's got the Sprung suspension logo on there. So Sprung is a suspension tuning outfit based near the Forest of Dean. It was started by Jake Ireland, and he's an ex-bike journalist I used to work with actually. Jake's an awesome guy, and he's always been mega talented with suspension. So he set up the suspension tuning company, and now they're making these custom Fox 40s essentially. So it's still a Fox 40, but it's got custom air springs as far as I know, low friction seals, the Mork crowns on there, and I think he's done a few more things on the inside. I think I might go and see him actually when they're available, just to find out when he's got availability, just to find out a bit more about what they're doing, because he's really grown in terms of his business, and he's actually Brooke McDonald's World Cup mechanic for the year. So awesome stuff, Jake. Love what you guys are doing. So well done, by the way. We'll catch up at some point soon. Next up, PT's had a couple of new products. Genuinely great products. In fact, I'm going to go alone and say this one here, the Remo, is the best thing I saw at the show. So we all have the problem when you're trying to fix a tubeless puncture, yeah? So you stab it in, sometimes the worm, like the plug, doesn't come off the reamer. Sometimes you can't get the worm onto the reamer because you have the fat worms and you have the thin worms. And other times the actual reamer thing can bend. So they've redesigned it completely. It's a protected design, which is very smart, because if I was a brand making tools, I'd probably want to copy this because it's so good. Really well designed. Everything houses inside the unit as well, so you can put it in your pocket in the knowledge you're not going to stab yourself, and it's super easy to load. It's basically a hook, but the hook is profiled almost like a blade, so it can penetrate the tyre really efficiently. Pull it out and it leaves the plug at the perfect depth in there. What a great, simple tool. Why has no one else done this? Way to go, Pete's. And also they had the CO2 inflator with a straight line sort of chuck on the end of it, and just the operation of it is brilliant. It gets around a lot of the problems you have with the angled ones. Sometimes they freeze up, sometimes they don't let enough of the CO2 out, so this one's designed to be super efficient and super fast to use, and they come in all the Chris King colours, so mega stuff there. Next up, Gyro Merit spherical helmet. So we saw a helmet a couple of years back, I think it was called, I'm going to say, the Manifest. The first one that had that spherical MIP system. So of course, having a multi-impact directional protection system built into a helmet is obviously an amazing thing to have, but this really was the next generation. So a lot of MIPs have the cradles on the inside of the helmet, and they can feel, some of them in the past felt a bit hot. So this MIP system has two sections of the helmet and actually rotate around each other. But here's the helmet. It's got eyewear grippers on the back there, the MIP spherical system, and it's even got like little rubber goggle ports on the vents, so you can take glasses ports. You take glass off and stick them in the top when you're climbing. I just thought it looked rad. I've only got the price in the UK, £189 at the moment. Next up, Topig got some new stuff. I don't know how they keep coming up with new tools. This company is ridiculous. They make like 300 different multi-tools, and they keep adding more. Like, it's bonkers. So this one I like, the Tubi Master Plus 2. Tubeless repair and CO2 inflator all combined, and it had two different plug insertion tools, so you can basically have with either side, so I'm not sticking my fingers up you, you can have either side of those plugs and bung them in. And they also had a two-stage pump, so this had a built-in digital gauge and also do tyres and shocks. To me, that sounds brilliant, so I've asked for one of those because I want to try that out. So if you can have an all-in-one pump and it's got a digital gauge, so it's genuinely accurate, why would you need anything else? Sounds great. And they also had a tubeless valve stem cleaner. This is it. It looks like something horrible for picking your nose, isn't it? But I guess that's what it's for, picking your bike's nose, really. And yeah, well, didn't realise I needed one until I saw one, so that's pretty good. We're getting towards the end of the stuff here. The last thing, Crankbrothers Highline 11 seat post, the dropper post, carbon dropper post, carbon head, carbon shaft on there. Now this thing was mega light. It was an operational post. They wouldn't tell me how much it weighed, and they didn't say how much it weighed, and they don't have my scales with me to weigh it. But I can tell you this thing is seriously light. Comes in all the usual travel, 60, 100, 125, 150 mil, and a 170. But looking at the carbon exposed on there, I'm like, what's that going to be like riding that in British conditions? Like, I'm going to get one because I want to find out what that's like, because I can't imagine it's going to play too well with all the mud. But hey, it weighs almost nothing. So maybe this is the thing that's going to convince more cross-country riders to use dropper posts, because honestly, the weight difference is staggering. There we go. A little wrap up from Core Bike Show. Okay, into news now, and first up, there's a new YT Capra around. So this is it, the YT Capra MX Uncaged 9. Yeah, it's purple with yellow stuff on it. Now, in the office, already this colour has been a divider, so do you love it or do you hate it? I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm going to sneeze as well, so I'm just going to go off camera and start again. I'm just going to join on from there, actually. Why not? Why the hell not? Okay, so as you can see on screen, there's loads of shots of it. So alloy hydroformed frame, so it's not a carbon one for once. Mullet setup, 170mm travel, deep purple finish. What is it about purple? I love that colour. 5 sizes, geometry on here, so head angle 64.2 degrees, about as slack as you need to ever get. 77.6 degree seat angle, again, loads more shots whizzing past you, hopefully. Chain stays from 433mm to 438, the size specific. Yes, bravo, thank you for that. Reach between the small and the double XL size over those 5 sizes ranges from 424 up to 504mm, so plenty of range there for all but the absolute tallest of people. So that is all good. Double sealed bearings, a flip chip for geometry adjust, SRAM UDH, yep, good work there. Threaded BSA bottom bracket shell, yes, no more press fit, thank you very much. Olin suspension front and rear, so you've got the 38 RXF fork on there and a TTX 18 shock on the rear. GX Eagle 12-speed, code brakes, Crankbrothers synthesis wheels, I nearly couldn't say it there. Man, what a bike. They know how to put together a good bike. Quite cool, this alloy actually. I actually think it makes it cooler because of that. Next up, Poc got a new helmet, and this is it. This is the Otocon. What a gorgeous looking helmet. You're probably wondering what this is. This is essentially like a mud fender. So you think in a lot of racing, when it's seriously muddy, you can have this optional clip-on extra that just really extends your peak. You might have seen racers doing it with like goggle lenses taped on in the past, but that just looks the part. So straight up, you can see it's a familiar Poc shape. Absolutely loaded with vents on here, as you can see. So they weigh about 750 grams for a size medium. This one's actually small, this one's Anna's helmet. And you have an adjustable cradle for the back of your head, which is adjustable from the back. So this helmet fits much more like a trail helmet rather than a downhill helmet. This is the whole intention, to enable it to become lighter and also much more ventilated. Hell of a good looking helmet. So it's got MIPS, it's got Reco, it's got NFC medical ID chip on here, which is essentially a batteryless system. Imagine it like being a little SIM card, and you can load information onto it, like your next of kin, your blood type, all that sort of important stuff that any medic might need. A few more shots on screen, better shots than I've just filmed here. So you've got a grille in the chin piece there to protect the rider from mud and other trail debris. And it's also designed to be easily removable. It comes with different size cheek pads on the inside here, but unlike the fit on like a downhill helmet, it feels more like a motocross helmet. This feels way less like pouchy, I guess, around your face. It fits more like a trail helmet with much more added security. So this is not a removable chin guard. This is a strong full face helmet. It's just designed really for the enduro racers and people that are riding enduro bikes and sessioning bike parks that really don't actually need a massive full face downhill spec helmet. It's also got a breakaway peak system on the top there. And well, there you go. So there's two models, the Otocon Race, of which this one is, and the regular Otocon, which doesn't have the MIPS system on the inside there. And well, there we go. What do you think of this? Okay, now, so it's time for some quiz questions. Hopefully you've got your IQs dialed up ready for this. So first question coming at you on screen, what is MIPS? Second question, what animal does the Whitey Capra take its name from? And third question, name the ex-World Cup downhill racer that's been helping Forestal with the development of their bikes. We'll pick up the answers in a bit. Let's move on to some comments from last week's show. Again, some great comments in there. Thank you everyone for being so supportive of the channel. First up from Mikey 1967. Yoshimura, cool brand under the radar, massive and iconic with motorcycle products and racing heritage. The pedals are awesome. And then so Bart Mullin said, gorgeous pedals, almost too pretty to subject them to the abuse trails and riders will dish out. Yeah, do you know what? I kind of agree with that, but also I kind of like the patina, I guess you'd say, when something does look a little bit beaten up and well used. Not wrecked, but like well used. I always think a bike looks kind of good when it's a little bit dirty. Dusty in particular looks cool, not necessarily muddy like mine normally look. MTBK Maniac 1 says, I remember the Cannondale made or branded their own OEM parts. They called them Coda, that's correct. They also had Magic motorcycle cranks. I owned a pair. They were the finest cranks I ever owned. Hey, so the cool thing with those Magic motorcycle cranks was that really was the start of BB30. We've got Cannondale to thank for that. So Cannondale actually have introduced so many weird standards and things over the years. I think I want to make a video about them because there's just so much to talk about. Like, crazy brand. They've done some wild stuff. So without talking too much about it, I'm going to get into that. But we've got the book somewhere floating around. If you can somehow get one of these books to have a look at, please do. Like, it's insane. You might have to have a look at it at your local bike shop. Maybe the mechanics got one, something like that. I don't think they've released them to the public. They were just around. I was lucky enough to get one, although it's got some oil stains on it already. But it's awesome stuff. Right. Next up, from MJ. My bike came with a Pike Select Plus and a Super Deluxe Select Plus. Both made the bike so much cheaper to purchase, and then I upgraded them to Ultimates through the SRAM parts catalogue and eBay at a fraction of the cost of swapping them out, as well as adding a Megneg to them, and took out the 2.5mm spacer for more rear wheel travel. The Pike I further upgraded to 160mm travel with the updated 2021 Debonair air shaft, DST run and DSD shim stack in there. Total cost of that was still less than replacing the other one with the real Ultimate unit. So that's an ideal way of doing this. Now, it doesn't always work like this with some component brands, but RockShox is a great example of being able to buy the same chassis with the cheaper internals and then upgrade those internals to basically give you the top of the range chassis. It's a really cool thing, and basically what we're trying to say is you shouldn't be put off by buying something in a range that's not the top of the range one, because like you said, you can upgrade them. If you're willing to do this work, you could obviously get this done at a bike shop or by a suspension tuner, and of course there will be a premium for that because they're going to take out the labour charge, and it is well worth doing that, of course, because they're going to make it feel amazing. But you can also take on this stuff yourself. So yeah, this is really cool stuff to hear from you, NJ. I'm going to do something on that as well because I think there's quite a few brands where you can interchange components within product lines. So probably worth looking at. There's good knowledge in there, I reckon. And now we're going to dive into Rewind as well. So this week, this is a seriously cool. We've only put one on here. Actually, Anna shared this to me because I think she didn't want to talk about, how did she put it? Old tat. So disrespectful. I love old stuff. Maybe it's because I'm a dinosaur pretty much, but hey, someone else thinks so as well. So Dave in Guildford, a Kona Kilauea retro mod. So this is really cool. So he says, Doddy and Anna, I wanted to recreate my first mountain bike, a 1993 Kona Kilauea, but with mods like disc brakes and front suspension, stuff I would have loved back in the day. So to do it, I bought a 2006 explosive frame with recon forks, and then I resprayed them with rattle cans. I'm already loving this. And added modded components robbed from my Scott Spark. Hey, what a better use for them as well. So there's that explosive frame. Obviously it doesn't look too retro there, it just looks like an older frame. Stripping it back, getting the paint going, and already that's looking much more familiar. Oh dude, this is so good. I really, really love this. I love the fact it's basically a much more modern bike. You've nailed it with the original graphics on there as well. Kona Kilauea, designed by Joe Murray. Dude, what a classic. Great paint finish on there. Well impressed. No way, you even got a Project 2 graphics and the forks as well. Yeah, much better than the RockShox Reba as it looked there. Let's see where it goes. Oh my God, it looks so good. At a glance, that totally does look like an old retro Kona. I'm well impressed. You've got a fabric saddle on there and yeah, all sorts of other good stuff, but attention to detail, I love it. I love the retro mod stuff. So this is ace. So it looks old, but it's kind of just not really that old. What an awesome project. Come on, someone else out there must be working on something cool, something old, something retro. In fact, the guys at work here reckon I should try and build up my first real mountain bike that I had, which was a Muddy Fox Courier Mega in, I forget it was 90 or 91, I can't remember. I need to go back and sort of refine the catalogues. But just on the off chance, if anyone out there knows of a Muddy Fox Courier Mega, it's one that had the square tubing that went into ovalised tubing from the head tube there. Mine was a blue one that had Shimano 400 LX on there. The frame was like a blue colour with a sort of a fleckle in it, or I can't quite remember. Got visions of it, but yeah, I'm looking to get one and try and rebuild it to how it kind of was at the time. Kind of a cool project. I mean, I'm sure it'll be disgusting to ride, but just for old time's sake, I might do that. Anyone with any cool retro stuff, there you go, there's a link, there's the other one down there. Please get involved and send us your stuff, and we love seeing it. And last up on the show then, before we close this week, are some quiz answers. So the first question was, what is MIPS? MIPS stands for Multi-Directional Impact Protection, and it's essentially another preventative against rotational injuries, like oblique injuries. So you think when you hit your head, it comes at an angle at the ground. You're never normally just having a direct hit. So with that, if there's any sort of rotation of the head, if you can prevent basically against that, you're going to be in a much better place. Basically, it's all about reducing trauma that transmits through to the brain. That's what these things are designed for, to hopefully keep you in a fit state so you can keep on shredding. Next up, what animal does a whitey capra get its name from? Come on, I'm sure you all got this one. It's a long-haired mountain goat, often found in the high Alps. There we go. And the last question, name the ex-World Cup downer racer that's been helping Forestal with the development of their bikes. I did kind of say earlier, didn't I? Yeah, Cedric Gracia. Awesome guy, still absolutely shreds on a bike. And it's him that I think the brand has to thank for some of the styling, some of the great ideas that's gone into their bikes. Hopefully, we're going to get to go and ride with Cedric soon. Go and visit him out in Enduro. It's been a long time coming, and I'm keen to try and ride some of those bikes. I just want to know a bit more about them and see just how close they are to a real mountain bike. Because all those e-bike guys over on EMBN, they're like, oh yeah, they're just like riding a normal bike. I'm not sure about that, so we'll find out. Leave us some great comments underneath. Anna will be back next week, thankfully. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Ta-ra.